Hi everyone, my name is Goni Peles, and I'm presenting a paper co-authored with Yuval Adler, who's not here. He's not here on the call because it's the middle of the night now in Canada, where he's based, so I'll be presenting on behalf of the two of us. We're very excited to be part of ICMC 2023 and present to you our research in which we adapt a model of game live streaming to networked music performance, as the title of the paper suggests. Our point of departure was producing networked performances of an original multiplayer music game called Scorecraft and thinking critically about what performing online entails. We realized that what we were doing could be considered both game live streaming in the sense that we were playing a game online for an audience, and networked music performance in the sense that we were playing music online for an audience. Now, as we were coming from the musical side of things, and we were interested in drawing on the unique characteristics of performing online, rather than trying to replicate offline music making, we thought that game live streaming, a practice native to the internet, might be able to offer insights into how this can be done. So we reviewed scholarship on game live streaming and found it to be a particularly rich perspective to consider, not just for game-based music, but for networked music performance in general. Particularly useful was a model of game live streaming developed by T.L. Taylor, which breaks down live streaming productions into 6 layers: set design, performance, critique and evaluation, sociality, material and digital infrastructure, and economic and commercial frameworks. In the paper, we devote to each layer a section in which we follow a repeated structure. First, we introduce the layer by summarizing from Taylor and adding further details as needed. Second, we examine how the layer is manifested in 3 Scorecraft productions. And third, we look at how the layer applies to related work by other practitioners and scholars in the field of networked music performance. In that regard, our networked performances of Scorecraft serve as an intermediary between the 2 fields, facilitating this process of translation. The outcome is a list of key considerations and possibilities derived from Taylor's model, which we offer as a tool for the analysis, critique, and creation of networked music performances. This is in a nutshell what you can find in the paper. In the remainder of this presentation, I'll focus on just one example of a Scorecraft production mentioned in the paper and illustrate how the model we propose can shed light on different aspects of it. But first, a brief description of Scorecraft. Scorecraft is a multiplayer music game exploring online music making mediated through gameplay. Each player controls the game by producing sounds, therefore by playing the game, the players are making music. Scorecraft is structured as a modular environment consisting of a collection of mini-games and scenarios. Mini-games require the players to produce a particular set of sounds in order to interact with the game, shaping musical material. Scenarios determine how the mini-games are arranged, organizing the musical material into larger musical forms. The production I'll focus on is Scorecraft at Kermit, which presented a game of Scorecraft Olympics produced for a special online edition of Improve at Kermit. It featured 5 minigames played in a row, and 4 players competed for medals for each minigame. Each medal was worth a different number of points, and the player who earned the highest number of points by the end won. Here's a short excerpt from it.
This next game is a game of tunnels, which is kind of an obstacle race.
The players need to produce the correct sounds to keep moving forward. To pass through the yellow parts, they need to sing the correct pitch. For the brown parts, they need to be silent.
You can sometimes hear who's winning by who is leading the strange canon-like polyphony that results.
Wait, where is Oded?
Alright, Oded.
Everyone else can already start.
I'm sorry, I was...
Join quickly. You're losing ground, Oded.
Oh fuck! When did it start?
Yes, go.
Oh fuck! Oh,
I hate this.
Yes! I came late and I won.
Wow, that was a very close finish.
They were overtaking each other quite a bit here.
Coming up is a
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is iterate through Taylor's layers and the key considerations and possibilities we derived from them and apply that to the production of Scorecraft Olympics. In a way, I'm cheating a little bit because when we did the research, we first applied Taylor's layers to Scorecraft's productions. Scorecraft Olympics was one of them, as well as to other works, and only then formulated the considerations and possibilities. So obviously you'll see that the model fits. However, our purpose was not to find a model that offers a comprehensive description of network music performance, but rather to present a non-exhaustive set of possible lenses through which network music performance can be viewed and conceptualized. Therefore, as these lenses are grounded in game live streaming rather than offline performance, they draw on the unique affordances of the internet and can shed new light on aspects of networked music performance underemphasized by more music-focused approaches. So I'll now take a closer look at the model and discuss how it applies to Scorecraft Olympics. Taylor's first layer is set design, which refers to the arrangement of graphic and audio elements used by streamers to customize the default game for spectatorship. We derived two considerations from this layer. How is the digital or physical stage designed, and if there is a score, and by that we mean a musical score, and the score is presented for the audience, how is it customized for spectatorship? With regard to the stage design of Scorecraft Olympics, we alternated between camera videos and a projected score, which is in Scorecraft the game itself. Scorecraft is an example of what can be called ludified notation, which is a musical notation in which a game is used to direct musical action. With regard to how the score was customized for spectatorship, Scorecraft has a built-in audience mode which, depending on the game, supports both manual control over which player to follow and an auto-follow option which we used in Scorecraft Olympics race-like minigames. Scorecraft also has a range of built-in HUDs, that is a game user interface term referring to on-screen elements indicating player status. For example, there is an instruction text on the left side of the screen for each minigame and a leaderboard on the right side of the screen showing the status of each player. In Scorecraft Olympics, we also extended these with a specialized medals table showing the medals and points each player earned after each minigame. Moving on to the next layer, performance. This refers to the performative approach streamers take to broadcasting their gameplay. From this layer, we derived three considerations. How is the performance framed? Which persona are being performed? And what is the balance between talking and playing? In the first two, we connect game live streamers' performativity with Philip Auslander's theory of musical persona, whose core argument is, quote, What musicians perform first and foremost is not music, but their own identities as musicians, their musical persona, unquote. Importantly, by identity, Auslander does not mean the musician's personality, but their role as performers within a social context. Musical persona are produced through interaction between performers and their audiences and are constrained by frames, a term Auslander borrows from sociologist Erving Goffman, defined as, quote, principles of organization which govern events, unquote. Frames can be layered on one another and create sets of expectations, whereas persona can also choose to break or playfully engage with expectations. In Scorecraft Olympics, we used a sports event framing, which is also commonly used in esports streams, as you can see in this figure from Taylor showing Dota 2 International Grand Finals commentator desk. If you remember from the video, Yuval and I were presenting the game as sportscasters. Yuval played the role of the main commentator and I played the role of the analyst. Regarding the third consideration, what is the balance between talking and playing, this relates to traditional sportscasting commentary as well as to streamers' tendency to think aloud while playing. In Scorecraft Olympics, we mostly alternated between talking and playing, although there were also many spontaneous interjections during gameplay. Therefore, our commentary was deliberately sparse to keep the music in the foreground. Talking while streaming is also addressed in the next layer, critique and evaluation, which refers to streamers' tendency to analyze and reflect on aspects of the games they are playing, thereby offering their audience expert evaluation of the game, not just entertainment. In our adapted model, critique and evaluation is extended also beyond the work or performance itself, suggesting two considerations. What does the performance critique and evaluate, and how does the performance express critique and evaluation? In Scorecraft Olympics, critique and evaluation was evident only implicitly through the players' spontaneous reactions to what was happening in the game. You could probably hear in the video that one of the players said, "I hate this," as well as a couple of fuck interjections. There were more instances of swear words in the full performance, and we earned the content warning explicit language because of them, but we decided not to censor them as we understood them not as insults but as authentic reactions to negative game outcomes, indicating that the players were emotionally invested in the game. As I said, this is a more implicit manifestation of critique and evaluation, but in the paper we also give examples of works in which this aspect is more prominent. Next is sociality, which refers to the ways in which game live streaming involves audience and community engagement. The two considerations we derived from this layer are how can the audience engage with and participate in the performance, and how can the performance support growing an audience and building a community. With regard to the first consideration, Scorecraft Olympics was streamed as part of an online concert consisting of pre-made videos. The audience could comment on the videos and interact with other audience members via live chat, but not really affect the performance itself. With regard to the second consideration, it seems that both game live streaming and network music performance, understood here as a subcategory of contemporary art music, share the common issue of an audience constituted of a high percentage of practitioners. This was also the case in Scorecraft Olympics, and we point to two possibilities for addressing this. One, grow via the player base, and two, perform frequently, both of which have been applied to Scorecraft in general, showing some success. The next layer is material and digital infrastructure, and this layer refers to the technological infrastructure that enables game live streaming. Both game live streaming and network music performance share very similar technological infrastructure, most notably the internet, but also broadcasting hardware and software, including microphones, cameras, recording and streaming apps, etc. We derived three considerations from this layer. What are the technical requirements for the performance? How does the performance address latency issues? And how professionalized is the approach to production? In Scorecraft Olympics, our approach was very similar to early esports broadcasts in the sense that it was post-produced by overlaying recorded gameplay with commentary. We used Discord for audio and video communication, OBS for recording, and DaVinci Resolve for post-production editing. Overall, we embraced a rather casual approach to production. We used relatively low-tech audio equipment, such as our laptop's built-in microphone, and as you could hear in the video, we're rather tolerant to distortion and streaming artifacts. In that regard, while a professional seamless experience can be a worthy goal, we believe there's also merit to exposing and emphasizing the imperfection of the virtual spaces within which we operate. The last layer, economic and commercial frameworks, refers to the financial structures that enable game live streaming. In the paper, we touch on this aspect rather hesitantly, given the financial complexities of the contemporary art music scene and their entanglement with wider economical and political issues, which we believe require a more thorough examination and discussion beyond the scope of this paper. Nevertheless, we do list one consideration: what are the financial structures underlying the performance, as well as a few broad possibilities. In the case of Scorecraft Olympics, the performance was presented at a McGill University concert, and Scorecraft more generally is developed as part of an academic research project, my doctoral work. However, apart from that, all work is voluntary. Server costs are self-funded, and none of the players, some of whom are world-class professional musicians, receive remuneration for their participation. As such, as with our material and digital infrastructure, also our economic and commercial frameworks can be said to resemble, at least at present, early esports practitioners' hobbyist approach. So, that was an example of using the model to analyze Scorecraft Olympics. As you could see, some layers resonated more than others, and we expect it to be like that also when using the model to analyze, critique, or create other performances. The paper takes a look at other works and approaches than those discussed here today, and hopefully you can imagine how you would give different answers when thinking through these considerations for a different performance. To conclude, I'd like to point out 3 avenues for future work. First, further exploring the model as an analytical framework by using it to investigate online productions by other artists. Second, assessing the utility of the model as a practical conceptual tool to raise awareness for the range of possibilities available for different production aspects and experiment with alternative solutions. And third, in the same way that applying Taylor's model stemmed from the overlap of network music gameplay in Scorecraft and game streamers on platforms such as Twitch, scholarship on other online performance practices could be surveyed for additional considerations, best practices, and lessons learned. These 3 avenues of investigation can be used to inform further development and refinement of the model to increase its usefulness to a more diverse range of practitioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Goni.